It's literally Google's shot at God mode. Like it's insane. So Astra is Google's DeepMind prototype for a universal multimodal assistant. It reads and responds in real time using your camera, your screen, your voice, your location, your email, and calendar. So basically, it can like analyze if you say like track where Philip is on his flight right now. It can go into my email, pull your flight number, cross-reference it to a flight tracker, and then tell me how far your flight is. So basically, it's able to like cross application provide you answers as an AI assistant.
There's a lot to unpack here. One, my deep-seated resentment of Siri on Apple.
Oh my God, the
And
worst.
I don't know why Google isn't doing a better job of marketing how bad Siri is and how good Google Assistant was comparative to it. And then you had Google Lens, which was superior to anything. And now you've kind of taken Google Assistant, Google Lens, and created an AI agent, and Google now dominates. But you can't dominate unless you actually have their platforms and their phones. Really, it's hard to do with an iPhone. So I don't know why Google isn't pushing this more, because I really love where that's going.
The thing that's really crazy is the potentiality, right? Like think about where like wearable tech is going to go. Like even being able to be like plugged into like an Aura ring or like a daily diagnostic for like communicating to you like when you need to eat, when you need to sleep, like where your glucose level is, like ordering you lunch. Like it's literally going to be a full-blown built-in assistant.
Yeah, there's a couple of issues that come up. People are concerned about privacy, right? Because it's going to see everything. And whereas if Google is doing that, you know what I mean? Like what data is being shared to Google. But, you know, I've dealt with this in terms of copyright and patents and even privacy. Old frames of references that slow people down are now getting in the way of momentum. So my advice to people who are like fixated on PIPEDA or privacy issues and patents is you're going to get left behind trying to be perfectly safe. Like you have to move. So although Astra, you have to take this with a grain of salt. Like I would allow it to see all of my stuff because I want to move fast, because I know that I'm going to get to the next level faster than the others. But if I worry, I see this in law with some people, they're terrified of making a mistake. So they're resisting ChatGPT, or they're resisting doing things quickly, but they're going to get so outpaced because an old way of thinking is making them say, we need 100% protection, 100% certainty. And with Astra, like if that gets used properly by a high functioning individual, you're going to go at 100 times the speed of somebody who's doing it by the old way.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really care to tell people, like, I mean, do what you want to do. Like, ultimately, there's nothing in my inbox that's that private. I think the question comes down
Yeah.
to is like, how do clients, I guess, like want that to be read and perceived? But like ultimately, there's a cost to everything, and there's a cost to not adopting that. And especially when you live and you work in a digital world, like I don't really, again, to go back to my like example, like I would prefer my Aura ring to be synced with my alarm and my calendar to tell me like when I need to go to bed versus like, okay, you're hungry, you've hit ketosis, we're ordering you lunch, or like here's an alarm for you to go eat, or like, hey, okay, so we've cross-referenced like you have to figure out when you need to leave to go pick up Philip from the airport, like leave at 7. Like to me that trade-off is like
Huge.
resist it if you want. I mean, I'm going to be riding it ahead and I can't wait to see where it gets, but
Because humans need to be, in today's market, you have to be amplified by AI. Right? If you're not amplified by the effective use of AI, you are just going to lose the race.
I think it's actually just going to go, it's going to like almost go back. There's just going to be such a massive division of class. There's going to be almost these like, it's going to be like the serfs and the lords, you know, like it's people who are plugged into AI versus like all of these bodies that are going to be left over. Like what happens? Like where does this go if we aren't adopting it at the same rate?
Astra, I don't love the name, but I love the potential implications. I just wish, I guess there may be glasses, like if you could wear see-through glasses so that Astra could see what you're looking at, as opposed to like the videos I saw is like they're walking around with the phone saying, hey, Astra, what's that? Hey, Astra, can you order me that? It'd be amazing if you could have something just on the side of your head that it's looking at what you're looking at. And so I can look at something in the store and say, hey, can you compare the price of this in this store with everywhere else right now or something?
I disagree with you. I think that there should be like an input because there's just an abundance of information I don't
Oh,
require.
but the input is the voice,
No,
right? When you integrate it.
but I'm saying like if it's not, I would rather not be having to wear glasses everywhere if I don't wear glasses for me to be like, I like this one item in this store.
But how it becomes most effective if it can see your surroundings, like it tracks your body with an Aura ring. You want it to be able to see what you're seeing, and as you walk by, it goes, "Hey, I noticed that you were looking for this. We're walking by the pharmacy right now. Do you want to pick that up?" Right? Like that's where it's magnified because it's seeing what you're seeing, but it has all the data of what you've done in the last month to suggest what the best thing to do is.
I don't want that. I would rather it collect through like my search history and data and input to make my life easier than be like, hey, you're driving past a pharmacy, like pull over and get your like.
Well, it just would give you a reminder because it's seeing what you're not. That's like why, like the Tesla with all its cameras sees what's going on and can feed inputs back. Like it'd be nice to have that ability. It's just where do you put the cameras on your body so it's not a pain in the butt.
Oh, I think we should just talk about branding implications with Astra. So the core implications really is that AI agents are the new consumers, right? And that's like the biggest shift is that it's no longer focused on the graphic design. So before we would design websites, we would design socials, we would design all of this stuff for like a human aesthetically seeing it. Like brand as we know it is completely going to change because of the person who's going to be analyzing it, and it's no longer going to be human. So it's getting ahead of understanding what the AI sorts versus what the human needs.
So when you say it's no longer going to be human, humans are still going to process brands.
Well, there's obviously still going to be a massive, like brands are still going to have a role, right? Because the AI agent is more likely to refer the best choice, right? So Google is an arbiter of relevance. Like it's only going to recommend a restaurant or a hair salon that has high reviews. So the brands with more reviews or more likelihood of success are who's going to be picked, and that's ultimately what comes from a brand. But there's an element to understanding that the AI agent has parameters in which it works within for making a decision / a choice. And based on those new parameters, businesses need to be ahead of the change that's coming so that they can ride the wave. Like we're not really having this conversation to talk to Yeti, right? We're having this conversation for the business that's like, okay, I'm afraid of AI. What's happening? What's coming? How do I stay relevant? And that's the piece that you need to consider is that this is happening, like this is a breaking news environment. So you need to understand that with Astra, it's this move to CUI, which is effectively context. It's contextual user interface.
Yeah, I think it's successful if you have the whole platform of the suites. Like it almost seems like the world will move into tribes or nation states of like whatever their AI suite is, whether it's Apple, Meta, Microsoft, Google, because once you kind of you want to integrate your whole life, you get more out of it if everything is on one platform that talks to each other.
Well, you bring up another interesting point, like the privacy versus utility, because people are really interested for how Apple approaches this with like kind of their whole messaging campaign with being privacy focused. The only thing that sucks is that Apple doesn't own all the different applications, right? Google has a fantastic Gmail and Google Calendar and like Google, like, so it has all the different pieces. Whereas Apple, like, I don't use Apple Mail, you know what I mean? Like I use iMessage, but I guess that's kind of the question is like privacy versus utility, like who's going to come out on top of being like better at privacy versus utility. From a brand perspective, complicated is like if you offer a fantastic bespoke experience, but you're harder to find, things have already been working against you, but it's only going to get worse. And the reason why AI has been so powerful is when I type in, give me a creative brief for this client on this topic and include these few pieces, what comes out is good enough. And for the average person, they can clock out 3 hours earlier. The process, like the sacrifice of the work, like all those pieces are lost. Even when you're planning a vacation, like the way that ChatGPT spits it out, it seems like it's just saved you 9 hours of work, but like you just don't go through the steps anymore.